I remember just crying to my boss, and he was like, go, you've got to go and learn. And I was just like, how am I supposed to leave this comfortable nest that I have of home? Having, never left during college, having been so close to family, having friends, and to leave all of that with a dream is very scary, even when you have the dream in front of you.
On today's episode, we have my very good friend, Brittany McGrath. Brittany is a character rigger who has worked at Ubisoft, Pocket Gems, Disney, and Blizzard Entertainment. She's worked on ENCANTO, Frozen 2, Drawn to Life, and World of Warcraft. Please welcome to the show, my friend, Brittany McGrath. Hi, my friend.
Hello.
Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
As you mentioned, I'm a rigging artist, and rigging artist has a lot of really crazy names in different studios. So I've been called a character technical director, I've been called a technical artist, and they're the same coin, but just different skill sets.
Right.
And so what I do, I think technical art's a great way of describing it. I combine technical skill sets of coding and physics knowledge with the arts. So with the artistry of anatomy,
Right.
and putting those two things together to make things creatively. So in those skill sets with rigging, for example, rigging is building out an anatomical system for character. So I'll set up, the bones, and I think about muscle systems and how motion and movement work in real life. There's technical components to anatomy, and then there's artistic, because we're trying to cheat reality in the computer. Then I also do cloth and hair simulation work, so that's to complement animation performance. And then tools and pipeline is my third kind of tool in my belt, which is writing out tools and code to help other artists and helping artists solve problems if their scenes aren't working and fixing things for them. So basically taking those puzzle pieces of, you're having this problem, okay, let's figure out ways to solve your problem to make your scene workable so you can do your job.
Right. You're a problem solver.
Yes.
In general.
That's what I do. So
yeah.
I mentioned the technical art term because since those three coins are all a part of my day-to-day, my days vary. But every day I'm going into work trying to solve problems and to leave the day knowing that new problems will arise the next day. So it's just all about figuring things out.
Right. And so character rigging is specifically in animation.
Yeah.
You're rigging the character so that animators can then animate the characters, right? You're making the puppets that then they animate.
Yes.
Currently, you're a tech artist.
Character technical artist. But the reasoning for that is because, again, with character tech art, like character rigging, you're just rigging. With character tech art, we're responsible for the character at a whole in terms of the rigging, the cloth and hair, the physics effects. So we follow the character through the whole process. Yeah. Whereas with movies, you have people specified in character rigging. You have people who are doing the simulation-based tech art work, like simulation setup and all of that.
And simulation is on the hair and the clothing that
and
the
then you have
characters are
people
wearing.
Doing tech anim, and doing specific shot-based work. So you have that kind of difference in pipeline. So I think it's really fascinating because for me now I get to kind of cover the whole scope of a character and of an asset. I get to be casted to it, and then I get to follow it all the way into game.
Wow.
So every single thing that asset needs, I usually work on. You're like the point person. You know everything about that character. So it's kind of like your baby.
Wow.
And then you'll see it in the game, and it's so cool. Just that moment of like, oh my gosh, there they are in a cutscene, and there's the actual name they got. Like, here's who they are, and they've come to life.
That must be such a fulfilling moment to see that after all the work that you put in.
It is.
There it is. It's my baby. They're off in the world.
I think what's even more fulfilling though is what you give back to the community via film or in games.
Yeah.
That impact that characters have on everybody in the world. For the game I work on right now, my family grew up with it, and my aunt and uncle, they kicked off their relationship through playing the game.
Wow. And what's the game that you work
World
on?
of Warcraft. So, yeah. And so when I started at the studio, it meant so much to my uncle and aunt.
Yeah.
And they get so excited about what's upcoming. They get so excited to play together. And so
Right.
that's really fun, being able to go into the world with them and my cousin and to see the world through their eyes.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And
That's
to
so
spend
special.
time together.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and they're in Northern California. So being able to have that additional connection
Yes.
with them, and also to be able to geek out and know what they're going to be excited about upcoming.
Right. Yeah.
And being able to share that when it comes out. And it's
Yeah.
the same for movies, being able to share with family. I have a Latin family
Mm-hmm.
on my mom's side, and I got to be a part of the Familia group at Disney.
Yes. Which was while you were working on Encanto.
Encanto, yes. And
Yeah.
Encanto was very special because I got to grow so much on it. It was my first feature rigging.
Yeah.
And so it was a really big opportunity to grow and learn,
Yeah.
to solve some technical problems, and to get to also contribute in a way within the studio
Yeah.
on a diversity level, which was
Right.
really exciting.
So can you speak more about what the Familia Group was? Because it was a
Yeah.
really cool thing that they set up at the beginning of Encanto.
Yeah, so Disney had a Familia Group, which was some employees who volunteered time during their work week. And, we had approvals for this, which was very nice, by leads and just the support of the studio as a whole.
Yeah.
But it was an opportunity. I want to say it was about once a month, I'd say, maybe every couple weeks, depending on what directors needed. They're very busy people.
Yes.
But it was an opportunity to gather and collect with them. At this time, we were all in COVID. So we were all work from home. So we had this group over Zoom.
Right.
And we would meet up, and specific things the directors wanted to chat about, we would talk about stories on those topics. And I
cool.
remember having opportunities to
About
tell
familial trauma.
but just being
No,
like,
I'm
I
joking.
think, well, but like we talked about
But
relationships with our grandparents.
It is though,
Like,
yeah. It's about
I was
generational trauma is what that's what they
Yeah.
always say Encanto is about.
I was very fortunate to get to live with my grandma during
Yeah.
college, my Nana, and she has a lot of siblings, and she has, her quirks about her. We had the big family dinners during holidays with all of the family.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
got to talk about those things. I got to talk about my relationship with her and what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I feel like being able to share that gives an authenticity to the characters.
100%.
And it allows that story to evolve, and it allowed it to become what it really grew to be.
Yeah.
Jared and Byron are extremely talented people, just
Yeah.
as Charisse is. They're all phenomenal. And
Yeah.
just being able to be in a room with them and talk to them, and then chat with them at the studio when we were back inside again, was very nice. It was a group I always looked forward to, and it was really, really neat to see things that we discussed as a group get integrated into the story.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so special. It's so nice. And it really speaks to the character of those people that they were bringing everybody in, and saying we're going to make this whole thing together.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to all of you for sharing your experiences and bringing that to the film. And I think that is what made Encanto so special.
Yeah.
So,
and what's really
thank you.
cool about thanks. What's really cool about it too is that it's not just the Familia Group. You have that and a culture trust. And I
Right.
love the care that storytellers really
Exactly.
take at these big studios
Mhm.
to get those insights for things upcoming in the pipeline for
Right.
any project. Making sure to really see what's going on and talk to different voices.
And try to do the research as much as possible.
Yeah, because that's what this all is. This
Mhm.
is, we're telling stories through lived experiences, and there are a lot of similarities across the board, and there are some that are unique.
Yeah.
And it's making a project connect with everybody.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the goal at the end of the day.
Right. Would you say that that's probably one of the most special projects you've worked on in your career because of the familial connection?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Encanto was really special.
Yeah.
It was a lot of learning. It was a lot of growth.
Yeah.
And it's something that I look back on fondly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I loved working on that movie too.
Yeah.
It's a really special film. So
Yeah. It's hard though to pick favorites because everything's so great.
it is.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
true. It's true.
like you're looking at all these things, and everything has a unique component to it. I like to look at it as you're putting tools in your tool belt. There's
Right.
always a new challenge with a new movie.
Totally. Or game. Because,
Yeah.
it's like comparing Encanto and World of Warcraft is like apples and oranges. Like, it's just two fully fulfilling, amazing projects that are so different from one another,
Yeah.
Was there a moment that meant something, a shot, a character specifically that meant something to you in any project you've been on?
I think if I had to say a project that meant the most to me, it'd be Frozen 2.
Oh.
And I think that's because that was the project that made me like that. And what I mean by that is that, you start as an intern at a company and you're learning,
Yes.
and Disney's a huge opportunity. And it was exceptionally scary to get in my 2011 Nissan Versa to leave home for the first time ever.
Sure.
First time in forever, if you want to use the Frozen reference, right? But like to get in my little Nissan Versa, to put my basics in there. When I got the call from Matt Roberts, it was, "Can you be here in like 10 days?"
Matt Roberts is the recruiter at Disney.
Yeah.
Yes.
and I just remember my response to him when he said, "Can you be here in 10 days?" was, "I have a job."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay, I mean, if you can't, it's fine." I was like, no, I will figure this out.
I will be there.
Yeah, I was like, I will be there. Like, do not do anything. Like, that's my spot.
My job.
I have to figure this out.
Right.
And I remember, and just going into work, that my current internship, where I'd be wrapping in February already, I had seen the preview for Frozen 2 with them like 4 days before I got the offer.
Oh, wow.
And I remember just being like crying to my boss, and he was like, "Go, you've got to go and learn." And I was just like, how am I supposed to leave this comfortable nest that I have of home? Like having, never left during college, having been so close to family, having friends, and to leave all of that with a dream is very scary, even when you have the dream in front of you. And you start at Disney, and I started as a character TD apprentice.
Yes.
And you're told you're gonna learn this thing in 3 months. If you do well, you're on the movie.
Right.
So you don't even know yet if you're going to be on the movie, but you're a smart person. You have like massive...
you're a nice person.
massive imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And you're like, how am I was just working on a mobile game, which is awesome, but how am I supposed to work on a feature film in 3 months? I don't know.
At Disney, and it's Frozen 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This movie... I saw Frozen in theaters like 7 times.
Right.
I crowdfunded that movie in some degree in college. With the volume of people at San Jose State, I was dragging to the movie theaters to watch Frozen.
Right.
So you're now in this room with your idols that are like rock stars that you've watched Frozen, and they've worked on Frozen.
They're the people who made Frozen.
Yeah.
And you're now working with your coworkers.
And you're like, how am I supposed to work on Frozen too? I don't know. And I came into Disney as a character rigger, which you've mentioned multiple times. Like, rigging's my bread and butter. It's my background. It's what I loved in college. And they're like, "Can you do tech anim shot work with simulation?" And I just remember being like, "I will figure it out.
I will do anything.
I will learn whatever you need me to learn."
Yeah.
Like, you tell me how to jump. You tell me how to jump. You tell me how high I need to jump. I will do whatever.
I'll shoot a bow and arrow. I'll learn the pogo stick. Whatever you need. I can do everything.
And so, I think that I'm so proud of how much I grew over those 3 months. I'm so proud of being able to have worked on Elsa and Anna and to have brought that story to life. I'm so proud of the friendships and the community that I made during that. I started with an apprentice group of 3 other badass ladies who are all doing really cool things today. And to get to bond together, to get to learn together, to grow, and to develop those sim fundamentals that I use today. I use exactly what I did on Frozen 2 in my day-to-day every single day.
What from Frozen 2 did you get to work on where you were like, "Oh, this is such a cool shot that I got to do"?
Yeah, one that I remember would be a shot of Anna. I think think it was in the song Things Never Change, but I could be wrong. But it was her running and pulling a lever, and the speed in which she was going across the frame, having to figure out the physics for that was very challenging.
Yeah.
And she was in a long dress. And I feel like I learned a lot with that shot. It was really cool. It was a cool thing that I got to work on for her. There was also a shot of Bruni, the salamander.
Yeah.
During the film, we all called the salamander Sally. But the salamander turned out to be Bruni, was the name they went with. But I got to do some sculpt work on a shot where Bruni's in, I think it was Elsa's hands.
Oh, cool.
And that was I love reptiles.
Right, yeah, when he gets cooled off because he's hot and it's the little steam. Yeah.
Yeah, I love reptiles, so that was like really fun to get to work on. And that was a fun shot too, because I was re-sculpting some anatomy in for him, because that got a little crunched in his body with the way that he turned. And so I had to figure that out. I also had to figure out what the textures, how to make the texture look correct because of that squash going on.
Yeah.
So that project just meant so much. It was so special. And I think what's really incredible about it too is that you're working with people and everybody wants you to succeed.
Yes.
And I say this from the point of, I had met one of the supervisors years before I'd started at Disney, Dave and
Dave
Surovic.
Yeah.
And I'd met Dave at his wife's paper cutting workshop at the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco.
Oh, cool.
And I would just like run into him at CTN and poke him on occasion and ask questions. And he was always kind to like give me feedback or respond via email. And these are people who are so busy.
Yes.
And it was cool too during college to get to watch like the progression of his career and other artists that I ran across.
Yeah.
And so to get to be in an environment where my first feature was with a supervisor who I, looked up to in the industry. You had been
following his
for
whole career.
years. It was just so nice to be able to have that kind of mentorship on the show, of that leadership with him and Chris.
Yeah.
And meeting Greg too. Greg was the supervisor as well on the film.
What a cool full circle moment.
Yes.
I want to do what he does. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then he's actually actively the one who's now training you and your supervisor, like literally teaching you how to do the job.
Yeah.
And how kind people are in our industry, and they actually go out of their way and they want you to succeed. It's really amazing.
And I think that's because for this world, it takes a village. It takes so many people to put these things together. So you have to work together. And you have to learn together and grow. Frozen 2, I also say it would be like one of the most important ones to me. It's the movie that I got to take my dad to theaters to see.
Oh, that's great.
And I remember getting to watch the credits with him. And that meant so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so your dad's name is Steve McGrath, right?
Yeah.
And my
dad was a senior character modeler.
Yeah.
Just to get it out of the way, we lost him a couple years ago. Yeah. But his legacy lives on. The first movie my dad and I went to see in theaters with my mom, which he would always tell me, was The Lion King. So I very much believe in the whole "he lives in you" concept. Yes. And my dad worked in the industry for a very long time. He's worked on projects you'd be familiar with. He's gotten to do some of the other studios that I haven't had the opportunity to work at.
Right.
He's gotten to work at DreamWorks for an exceptionally long time. When he was in the industry, he got to do a stint over at Pixar and Toy Story 2. Yeah. He got loaned out to ILM and got to work on Star Wars Episode 2.
Amazing.
Again, the theming Frozen 2 being
a lot of twos.
A lot of twos. But and then he's a modeler who got to work on all of the Shrek movies. He would talk about that all the time.
Yeah. And what were some of the characters
you would know
that
him.
Your dad modeled? Because it's kind of amazing that he sculpted. Because he was a traditional sculptor.
He was originally a traditional sculptor. Yeah. So back in the day when he worked on commercials and got into kind of effects work, he worked in the traditional medium, and then he got to be part of the transition to CG. Right. So they would model things traditionally for Toy Story 2, and then they digitized it into the computer. Yeah. And then that segued into sculpting within the computer, within Maya and different softwares. You would know him from Jessie, so her head. Amazing. I got to sculpt Jessie's head.
From Jessie, the cowgirl.
Yeah.
Who else?
Yoda's lightsaber
Oh,
in Star
casual.
Wars Episode 2, Shumai, who you may not recall, but he was so proud of her. She's in this like room. I want to say it was like some type of a board meeting for Star Wars.
Okay.
I need to understand Star Wars lore more. But she's briefly there, and she's the head, right? And she's talking. And I remember watching that in theaters with him, and he was like, there she is, and she's there, and then she's gone. But he was so proud of her, and she was awesome. And then for Shrek, he's known for modeling Lord Farquaad,
Amazing.
Dragon. He modeled Gloria the Hippo for Madagascar. He modeled King Harold and the Queen for Shrek too.
Wow.
I'm trying to think through this. Oh, the bird that blows up in Shrek 1. He's responsible for that bird. He also got to model some environment components in the movie, which is really cool.
And he modeled this. I have a statue here that's to this day, if you work at DreamWorks and you reach 1 year, they give you a statue of Shrek.
Yeah.
And your dad actually sculpted this statue.
My dad was a part of helping with the process of seaming and making that statue. Yeah. And he worked with, I think, somebody else for it. I don't recall their name off the cuff.
But he worked on it.
But it's so cool because his name is on the box. So when you're given that, award, his name is there. His is on the box.
Amazing.
The Shrek statue. And he also would work on projects on the side. So he worked with Bowen Design on a Hobgoblin maquette.
Oh, cool.
So he was always doing things, tinkering in the garage, trying something new outside of his day-to-day with working in feature film.
And growing up around that kind of creativity and someone that talented, was that inspirational to you as an artist when you were younger?
Yeah.
Did you ever think like, I want to do what he does, or was it just kind of, that's what dad does? Is that,
That's a great question. So it was definitely an environment that I think because I grew up in it, it was just the norm.
Right.
I go to school and I talk about my dad and what he does, and everybody's like, that's so cool. But for me, it's just another day,
Right.
I go in the garage, dad's sculpting out there. Maybe I'll tinker a little bit. We go out, we go to restaurants, crayons are on the table to draw on the paper on the table, and he's right there with us, drawing right beside us, very kid at heart.
Yes.
And that's just kind of the world that I was surrounded in. So I didn't know any different.
Right.
With that said, I 100% did not think I was going to end up in this industry.
Oh, amazing.
So I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I was taking AP Computer Science at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I also was taking high mathematics classes, and I was trying to grow myself to become an environmental engineer. I loved physics. I took some physics classes, fell in love with physics. I took these math classes that were pretty challenging. I loved art classes.
Yeah.
And one day my dad sat me down and we were chatting about like what was next for me after I graduated.
Right.
And I'd fallen in love with basically making artistic style animated graphics in the computer. I'd been coding little graphics with like random stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved art. And my dad saw all of these things together and said, hey, we have people at my work who do this.
Yeah.
I'd been going to take your kid to work days for as long as I can remember when I was a kid. Obviously, you get to a point where you outgrow take your kid to work day once you're in high school. So my dad kind of made a DIY take your high school daughter to work day. And it was really amazing because he actually reached out to 2 female colleagues. One of them a character rigger at the time they were working on Madagascar 3.
Oh, wow.
And the other a CFX artist.
Mm-hmm.
And so I job shadowed the 2 jobs that I've done in the industry.
Wow. That's
and
crazy.
with both very talented, smart, incredible women. And it was so cool as a high school student to see somebody doing that and to think, I could do this.
Yeah.
These skills that they're talking about literally take exactly what, I love and put it into this medium.
Wow.
So
how inspirational.
Yeah.
What a cool. Yeah.
And I used that was like my light bulb moment. And that became my guiding light through all of college. Because I basically went a route of trying to shape my education to complement what I needed to learn to become a rigger. because I fell in love with it and I was like, this would be so cool. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought I would get to do both departments.
Yeah.
I thought I'd have to pick one.
Right.
So
yeah.
I was like, rigging, this is it. But going to college, and it was really incredible having had that inspirational moment. And that was one day, and that was a finite duration of time that somebody took out of their day to show me their job.
Yeah.
Maybe a half an hour of time.
Maybe.
And that half an hour drove me for years.
Right.
That half an hour was my guiding light.
And it's still driving you.
Yeah.
To some degree. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's been cool getting to like run into those people that showed me their craft back in the day at
that's
SeaGraph,
amazing.
and getting to tell them how much that meant to me all these years later.
Wow, that's so special. That's so cool.
Yeah.
What was that experience like, seeing them after all that time and just being like, yeah, hey, you're kind of the reason I do this now?
It was awesome. So
what did they say?
I mean, for rigging, her name's Kara Malik, and she works over with Imagineering in Florida, and she gets to work on the animatronics and a bunch of really cool park stuff. I ran into her at a rigging summit at SeaGraph, and just getting to see her again and to say, hey, this really meant a lot to me.
Right.
When I was learning and growing, and you're a reason that I have been able to pursue this. And I think it's nice to be able to say that back to somebody that gave you a little bit of time, that impact mattered. And I think it's also because of that impact and what it's meant to me. I really want to work going forward in my career of giving that back.
Right. And there's a group that you're a part of that actually does that, right? You have been an active member in Women in Animation for quite a while, right?
Yeah. I've been an active member in Women in Animation. I haven't done any mentoring yet through there, although I would love to do that in the future.
Yeah.
And Women in Animation has been really lovely. They help a lot of people. The events they host elevate artists that you might not know about.
Yeah.
I was mentored through the Women in Animation program. And so my mentor was Tanya Cranford, and she was over at Pixar. She's known for Joy, for Coco, Mama Coco in Coco. She's known for, I think it was The Bear. I'd have to double check, but I think it's The Bear and Brave. She's worked on some incredible characters in her career. Very casual.
Yeah.
And so she mentored me during college, during my senior thesis year.
Oh, wow.
And it was very incredible to get to work with her, to learn modeling in partnership with rigging from an artist that, is doing that for their career.
Wow.
And so, WIA is an incredible program. The fact that they're able to give so much to students and artists that are growing through mentorship opportunities, through education, through scholarships. Yeah. I think it's incredible what they spend their time doing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is.
The other thing I did that I highly recommend to anybody who's in school is these companies have job boards. Go on those websites, copy paste the job board, and then find things in those job descriptions that directly connect to things in your education and in your schooling.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Because that's how I crafted my first demo reel. I crafted my demo reel by going through those different things and by partnering them with specific classes and doing projects that directed myself towards a piece that I could present.
Towards building a demo reel, basically. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
When did you do your first internship?
So my first internship was during college, actually. It was with Nimble Collective.
Okay.
They were a startup founded by some PDI alumni from DreamWorks.
PDI,
Yes. So Rex Grignon, Jason Schleifer, Jen Dahlman, just to name a few. And they were working on an animation-based cloud software. So being able to animate in the cloud.
Oh, wow.
Which is really incredible. And they had a project, a film that they were working on, and they had sent an inquiry to our school looking for animators. And I emailed the inquiry to say, hey, you're looking for animators. Are you also looking for a rigger? So I was able to interview with them for a rigging position on one of the shorts. and I got to work on roadside assistance.
Oh, cool.
And that was I got to do rigging in Blender.
Yeah.
It was a really golden opportunity. And as mentioned with the demo reel piece, it gave me a short film to put into my demo reel.
Right.
And I was applying to every single thing under the sun. I'd say that like a couple months before I graduated. And Pocket Gems set up an interview with me for their tech art internship. It was their first time they were ever having a tech art intern. And I remember interviewing with them, and I'd played some of their mobile games, which was really, really cool going into that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But they were working on a project that hadn't been announced. And I remember interviewing and seeing what they were up to. And I was so excited about it. I got the offer the day before I graduated for that internship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was very, very fortunate.
Safe. You're like sliding into them. You're like, and it's almost, I'm running out of runway, and here's an offer.
It was crazy walking the stage the day after I had pen and inked on an offer on my first like 3-month deal.
Wow.
And so I started at Pocket Gems over the summer. And I got to intern and learn under my mentor, Simon, he was absolutely incredible in helping shape me and also giving me insight into the different components of tech art within games. Because that was my first real exposure. I'd done game programming in college, but that was my first real world exposure to the games world. Yeah. All this time I'd grown up around film. I knew the film pipeline forwards and back. I loved games growing up. Had the Game Boy, had the Switch, the PSP, all the consoles. But I hadn't necessarily dabbled as much in that pipeline. So getting to see what different components there are to a tech artist within games as an intern was really, really eye-opening. And I learned a lot during my 3 months. And so I got extended as an intern. So I got extended for a handful more months, and I got to start contributing to the project that we were working on shipping, which was Wild Beyond. And that was my first game credit. Wow. And it was really cool being able to help as much as I could on the game, to fix things, to partner with artists, to learn from various departments, and to get to just form a camaraderie. You know, you're having lunch with these really cool people, walking through San Francisco, and just taking it all in. And I think this is something we noticed too, as you know, we've gotten older in the industry, not decrepit by any means, but like
speak for yourself.
But as we've been growing, you know, you get a certain like when you start out, you're like I don't want to say pixie dusted, but like you're so excited, you're
bright-eyed,
bushy-tailed,
and then you get jaded
as the 5 years,
6, 7, 8, because what happens is there's a reality to the industry. Show business. That's what they say all the time, and the show is the part that we're there for. We're all in. And that's what excites us, and that's why we're there. And then you realize that it's a business too, and then that part of it can make it a little bit muddier, you know.
I think it depends on how you view it too, because I think over time, you know, you grow in that, but like being an intern, you're so excited, and you're bringing that energy every day to the office, and it's infectious. It spreads to everybody, that like beacon of positivity, and like that's never been scorned before. And I think, like you're saying, that reality hits eventually of like, yes, there's financial components, there's a business to this, but that also sparks opportunity. You know,
it does.
It sparks.
Well, and the hope is also that you keep some of that spark and some of that excitement, because that's the whole reason why you're doing it. I mean, you know, even to this day, with all the things that have gone on, whatever, I mean, I know so many people in the industry who have been there for 20, 30, 40 years who are so passionate about what they do. And I think all of us have to be passionate. We all have to be super passionate about what we do to keep doing it. You know, that's the other special part with the people who we work with. It's kind of like an electricity. You know?
Exactly. And it's kind of a weird analogy, but I would say it's kind of like, I like to think about it in terms of like flowers and plants. Plants are picked and then they rebloom. And I think in industries in general, you go through periods and waves where things aren't blossomed, you know, they're not where they're bloomed in full and wonderful, but they get there. Things ebb and flow. It's the nature of the industry. You know, I went through it with my dad when PDI shut down. But then new opportunities arise, and things adapt.
Yeah,
So
totally.
that's just the nature of the game, and it happens everywhere for everything.
It does. And it's hard sometimes to not, take it to heart as an artist, because that connection between show business is so it's such a thin line, and feeling like, you put all of your effort and love and everything into your work, and sometimes you go, oh, well, my contract is ending, or I'm a short-term hire, or I'm
Yeah.
all these things, and you kind of, you have an issue with valuing yourself sometimes, and
Yeah.
it goes into imposter syndrome, which you're talking about earlier,
Yeah.
where you're like, is it is it me? Did I do something? Is it my work? Is it that or the other? And it's amazing because you're working at these places that are the
Yeah.
top in the industry sometimes,
Yeah.
and you're still having these moments of
Exactly.
doubt, and
And I think it's the reality at the end of the day that it's not you. It's just
exactly.
business. And you have to come to terms with that.
Yep.
But that's what it is. Like, and I think as long as you always want to grow, like going back to college days, I got to a point where I'd learned so much with computer science that I'd maxed out on what I was able to get there
Yeah.
in terms of what I could, take. And so I sought education elsewhere. Annam School had the opportunity where you could apply to take a class if you were at a certain level. And I saw that Walt was teaching a like advanced programming class. So
Mm-hmm.
I applied. I had no idea if I would get into that class, but I got it. And I got to learn from somebody else who has coding knowledge. And then, you learn things from demos.
Yeah.
You learn things by people doing things. You learn things by looking online. And as long as you just have a desire to keep growing
Yep.
and evolving, you just continue to take your skills and they'll advance you.
Yes.
You'll find a way in, you'll find an avenue where you're able to be creative. You just have to chase your own guiding light of what drives you
Yes.
and what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Another thing one of my mentors, Sheldon Borenstein, has always said, especially when I was in college and when I was starting to apply for that first internship, was we want the no's. So send everything everywhere. And I think that's the nature I've always taken for every single time a contract's ended.
Yeah.
I send things everywhere because I want the no's. And when I get the no's, I'm excited about the no's.
Right.
Because the no is just an answer of not right now. It's not a no.
Yeah.
It's a not right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want to
when
take
you apply
things
to new
as.
jobs and everything, and
Yeah.
they're sending back, no, we don't have a position
Yeah.
right now, or we went with somebody else, or
Exactly.
all that. Yeah.
And I think Blizzard's a really good example of that.
Mhm.
So with Blizzard, I applied to Blizzard when I was in college.
Yeah.
And my friend who was also in school with me at the time got the Blizzard internship, and I got the Disney apprenticeship a couple months later. So timing is a big thing with life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten multiple no's in the past from Blizzard, but again, it's a not right now.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked whether, the team that was hiring, their hiring priorities changed. They were further along with another candidate. It's not about you. It's not personal.
Yeah.
It can feel personal.
They've worked with someone before. There's many, many factors. Yeah.
But it's not about you. But I've applied to Blizzard for years.
Right.
Years and years and years. And now I have my foot in the door there. And the artist I have been able to become over the years has made me a great artist for the opportunity that I'm in now.
Yes.
These experiences in mobile games, the experience at Ubisoft, the, feature knowledge from Disney, and, the things I've gotten to work on over there,
Yeah.
ranging from films to parks projects, all of those different learnings I'm able to apply to my job now. And even today, there's so many things I learn, especially working on a game that's been around for so long.
Yeah.
You're working on a lot of older characters as well as making stuff for the future.
In your path, you are now at Ubisoft.
Yes.
When you were there, what were you working on? And because this was now, you're now working at a large game studio. You went from a smaller game studio to a large film studio to now another large game studio.
Yeah.
So what was the learning that happened there, and what were the things that you got to work on while you were there that were exciting,
Yeah. Ubisoft was really cool. I got to work on X Defiant, which was the project that at the time they hadn't announced it. And it was really unique in the sense of I was going to be having to figure out the challenge of at Pocket Gems, we had a lot of different characters.
Right.
So you have a lot of different skeletons, a lot of variety. With what I was working on at Ubisoft, you're having to do a lot of characters that are sharing skeletons. So you're able to use those animations, on different bodies and different opportunities within the pipeline.
Right.
And I mean, you do some of that in film too, right? So you'll have film characters in the background that they might have similar animations that are cross-populated to them, but you never notice because they're in the background, they're rotated a certain way. Yeah. But that's kind of a similar concept, right? In terms of it, because for the game, you're trying to have that consistency.
Right.
And you also...
So on the rigging level, you have to build it in a way where you can actually translate the same animations on all of these different characters.
On all of the different bodies. Yeah. So it's skinning to the skeleton off of all, thinking about the different bodies and the animations that are going to be applied to things. It's about the engine, right? It's about putting the character into the game and testing things, running around, jumping, seeing how all of that feels with a little physics, because we do a little physics on dangly bits. So if a character has like a grenade on the side of their belt, we might want that to jiggle a little. So setting up the physics for that. And then you've got, I didn't do a lot of dabbling in weapons, but I had colleagues who were dabbling in weapons, so I would learn a little bit about that and what they were doing on that side of things. And with games that are shooter games, that is a big component. You've got that first person angle where you've got hand animation, holding the weapon and the different styles of weapons, and that gunplay component. Yes.
Yeah.
And cycles are big things in games too, because you're having to deal with that end frame needs to match the start frame for seamlessness.
Right.
So that I learned a lot of those things. And then with Disney at the time was just Disney Burbank. So we didn't do, working with other vendors or other people at Ubisoft. I had opportunities to work with other locations for Ubisoft, right? You've got so many different divisions, so many different talented artists in different countries. And that was really cool. It was really cool being able to be in meetings with people across the world in Zoom, and knowing that like your day would end and somebody else's day would be beginning.
Right.
So you have this 24/7 pipeline of sorts, right? You have to control yourself a little in communication, because
you're
while
like,
you're
we
away,
have 10 minutes before I go to sleep and you wake up. So let's talk about what you got to do.
But
pass the baton.
It's more the thing of like, while you're away, there's conversations going on in like the messaging channels that be about things while our team's conked out. And the next day we'll review things with the team, that what they'd done the previous day, and we're iterating together. And you have, again, it's a different way of community, right? It's not the community together in office. Again, this was still during the pandemic at the time, but it's that virtual community and that across the world community. Ubisoft as a company really, really values work-life balance. And that was really nice. It was nice to be in that opportunity where you have that 40-hour work week and you're committed to that 40-hour work week, and that's kind of it. Like and it was something I had to adjust to, because with film, sometimes we work a lot of overtime.
Yes, we do.
And I was very used to working a lot of overtime. So it was weird to go and be like, wait, we're done for the day? Like, this isn't a test? Like,
it's 6 p.m. I can go eat dinner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm a little bit at times a workaholic, right? So I've gotten very used to the workday's done, the pencil's down. I will write a post-it to myself of what I ended my day on, what I need to start my day on the next day, and I put it on the computer, and I know what I need to do. But the day is done. I'm going to go relax, whether it's watching a show or a movie or playing a game.
The Bachelor.
The Bachelor is a
lot of The Bachelor.
Very important thing in my life. Yes. Yes. Watching The Bachelor, watching the trailers.
We could do a whole separate podcast about The Bachelor.
We really could.
Sure.
And
Survivor.
And my dissertation of the previews, because I love to predict who is going to be there in the end. And I'm pretty much right all the time.
Wow.
I will watch those previews. I'm not an editor on The Bachelor, but I know the way they edit, and I know what to look for in terms of a winner contender.
There you go.
Always hide them.
Yeah.
I love The Bachelor.
Amazing.
They always hide them,
There's
but they're
a little
there.
insight.
But they're there.
There's a little insight.
Yeah.
From rigging to The Bachelor.
But see, again, that's what's fun about life, right? So
Yes.
I think a big thing is I love what I do for a living. And it's what I do for a living so that I can spend time with friends.
Yes.
So that I can, go try to ski.
Right. Yes.
So that I can spend time watching The Bachelor with my sister and with family.
Work-life balance.
Yeah.
It's very, 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 very important.
Because life is fleeting. Like, I've gone through some waves of grief. I feel like I've learned a lot about that.
Yep.
I wish I had not gone through that grief, but I also feel like it's really shaped me into the person I am today.
Yeah, me too.
And, that growth that I have as a human.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about the times that I spent with my dad during hospice.
Yeah.
And I think about conversations we had. And my dad was never saying, I wish I worked on another film. I wish I worked on another project.
Mm-mm.
Things my dad was saying was, I wish I had more time with you.
Yeah.
I wish we spent more time together.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time together.
Right.
We would be in the garage together. He was not far away.
Yeah.
But, he worked long hours and things were busy back in the day and he did not realize that the time that he had on this earth would be as finite as it was.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that I really look into
We
my
never
life
do.
going forward.
Yeah.
But I look at how do I live a purposeful life?
Yeah.
I want to, what I do for a living, I do that to give back to players.
Yep.
I do that to give back to the community. I do that to put a positive impact into the world.
Yes.
I'm always excited to meet players that love what we're up to and love all of that. And I'm just as excited to sit down and take a call with my granny.
Yep.
If I'm commuting, I'm going to chat with her or one of my best friends on the phone while I'm commuting.
Yep.
I'm going to call my mom and talk to her.
Every minute.
Every second I get.
I am with you 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's so important.
It is.
It's so important to take those times that we have, to take the phone call, like to step out if needed for that quick moment.
Yep.
Because that time is flexible in some ways.
Yes.
And to be there for people when they need it.
Yep.
Because we're all humans and we're all just trying to make it by in this world, and we got to help each other out and lift each other up.
The passion that we put into it is because these things hopefully have an impact, right? And if Encanto has an impact on a little girl who feels like Mirabelle, who feels like she's alone in the world and she's not good enough and she's not, and this movie tells you, no, you're the hero. Those, you are good enough. You are better than good enough. You're amazing exactly who you are. And I think that that's what's so special about storytelling in general, whether it be movies, video games, or even just connecting with your granny and she's telling you stories about her life. Yeah. And that's why all those things are special. And, I think the more that we can bring all of that into our lives and put that back out into the world, the better off we'll be.
This product that goes out has real world lessons in it in some way with storytelling.
Yep.
And that helps shape our generations to come. That helps, shape everything in life. And it allows too that escapism, that opportunity to bond and escape from things. Everybody goes through different things in life, and having that opportunity to take a step away from whatever's going on, right, and just play a game or watch a movie. As you kind of mentioned with like kids, for example, like the Mirabelle example, I like to use my Frozen 2 example experience of during peak overtime. I would every other week on a Sunday, because we'd be off, I would go to Disney. I would schedule my reservation.
Go to Disneyland.
I would go to Disneyland, but I didn't go to Disneyland to ride the rides. I didn't go to Disneyland for the snacks. I went to Disneyland to meet Anna and Elsa. And I did that every 2 weeks. And I would go stand in that line with the children to meet Anna and Elsa.
Sure.
Because watching the kids meet those princesses and the sheer impact that has would drive me.
Yep.
It just ignites you. The belief, the love,
the magic,
the costumes, these princesses matter so much.
Yeah.
And I am so lucky that I get to go into work tomorrow and I get to give it my all to these princesses so that these kids and families can love this.
Yes.
They can cherish this, and this will be important to them. And sure, I'm working on a shot, and it's really cool, and I can't wait to go. That's my shot.
Yeah.
And it's like I said with the Shumai thing for my dad. It's there and it's gone.
Yep.
It's so fleeting and so fast. And I spent so much time on it. And it was very important the time I spent because those shots all stitched together to make this beautiful thing.
So when you were at Disney,
yes,
you not only worked on the films, but
yes,
you worked on some other projects as well.
I did.
What
yes.
were some of those projects that you got to work on while you were at Disney?
In between the films, you're casted to projects that aren't necessarily the films. If the films aren't ready for you to roll on.
Right.
During my in-betweens, I got to dip into parks projects, and I got to dip into short films through the short circuit program with Disney that ended up being released on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I got to dabble a little bit into Cirque du Soleil, which was super cool.
That's the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah. So with Cirque du Soleil for the show, I haven't seen it. I really need to go to Walt Disney World and go see it.
Yes.
And
the show is called
Drawn to Life.
Drawn to Life.
And there is a scene where it's the background is an animated sequence. So I got to help with the skinning process for the character in that piece.
Is it a spoiler really cool to know who the character is?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe we won't.
Spoiler alert. But it's a princess.
Oh, okay.
So I got to work on one of the princesses.
Oh, you got to rig a princess.
Cirque du Soleil. Like that's something you started Disney. You'd never think
in a million years
I'm gonna touch Cirque du Soleil.
No.
I got to do rig fixes for the Peter Pan ride, I think in Tokyo.
Oh,
Disney.
Cool. I went on that ride. It's
they've got
amazing.
The screens,
it's
right?
So
So
cool.
those screens have all this animation.
Yeah.
And the rigger who had originally done the rigging for that project had been pulled on, I believe, to Encanto already. And so they needed somebody to go in and do rig fixes. So I got to go into some of those characters and fix the rigs in a couple areas where performance was needed from animation. Because it was fun to get to explore somebody who's more senior, their rigs in the studio.
Right.
And then to get to figure out how to fix a couple things and zhuzh a couple things up and technically solve problems of those rigs for an animator. You know, I'm getting to do that aspect of that Anim Buddy system, but on a parks project, which is a little bit smaller than the big screen movie. With Short Circuit, I got to work on 2 of the films with them. I got to work on Going Home, which was Jakob's film.
Yes.
Which was amazing.
Yeah, it's a great short.
That film meant so much to me because that was during the time I was dealing with stuff with my dad.
Yeah.
Of his illness at the time. And getting to work on a film that was about going home and the process of aging, specifically getting to rig the 2 parents and to get to set up a system for their aging process in the film was so valuable. Like that meant a lot to me. That project was, I don't want to say an escape for me of sorts, but it was a story that I felt so passionate about in being told, and I felt so lucky to get to contribute to it.
Yeah.
And then with number 2 to Kettering, I got to rig a couple characters, and that, like you said, your first rig. My first official rig at Disney was a bus driver, and how funny is that? Because my mom is a special needs school bus driver.
Oh wow, that's
so
so cool.
You've got those like 2 things, right? You got the film about aging, and then you got the film about buses and people on the bus, and both of those films, short films, directly relate to my life. The director for Kettering, Lisa, is amazing, love her, and I was so excited to be able to work with a female director so closely and having that opportunity to help tell her story. She wanted a stop motion style that was kind of similar to what I'd done on Roadside Assistance with Nimble Collective back in the day. So I'm pulling those like skills that I learned from this internship project and applying them to a Disney project.
And pulling your emotional connections that, you know, and applying that and your feelings things into this film, you know, into these short films.
Yeah. And then the one other project I got to work on in terms of parks that I thought was really cool was the Splash Mountain Tiana's Bayou Adventure update. And that was really cool to be a part of. So I got to rig Lewis for the ride, which was really, really awesome to be able to rig an animal that is also, you know, bipedal. All of the work that we got to do is the screen-based work in the ride, which it's really cool that you've got, you know, Imagineering working on animatronics. You're working on the screen-based stuff. We're able to see ride-throughs as they're building things out and planning things. You know, we're talking with a lot of cool people that are the big people that are planning out everything for the release of these huge rides that are going to go in multiple locations. I did a couple of rig fixes for Mama Odie, which was fun. And then I got to work on a couple background characters in the dance scene.
And now you get to go ride it. You get to go in person and ride the ride.
I know. I still haven't been to ride it, but I need to.
I actually have. It's really fun. It's great. Our friend Dave, who's an animator, Badgero, animated your Lewis rig.
Yes, Dave and I worked together.
There you go.
On Lewis. It was so fun working with him.
We went with him and his wife Jess, who also worked on the ride, but at Imagineering. So all of our friends have worked on that ride. It's crazy. What a cool ride that is.
Yeah.
And the Peter Pan ride too is like, that was it's one of my top favorite Disney rides I've ever been on, I think. It's pretty amazing.
Need to go international for that one. So.
Yeah, hey, you know what?
Can happen.
Go to Tokyo. Yeah. Why not? Now you're at Blizzard.
Yes.
In my head, that's the Disney of video games. Like, it's the top place in the industry, you know? So what's that experience been like? Has there been like a character that you've gotten to work on there?
In terms of what I've worked on that has been released, I can talk about the first expansion, and some of this stuff is on my art station, so that's a place that it can be seen.
Cool.
I think my favorite character that I got to work on so far within, you know, the War Within that has been released would be Rowena. She's a non-playable character. She has a quest line.
Very cool.
And she's in the cinematics trailer for the expansion, which was very exciting to see that.
Wow.
I think a fun fact I would have for Rowena is our friend Brett Taggart worked on the cinematics version of her.
Oh, cool.
And so it's really cool that he got to work on that and I got to work on
the in-game
version of her.
Wow, that's so fun.
Because we've worked on other projects together within the Disney sphere of things, right?
Yeah.
So there's that cross-pollination of sorts.
Same
at
people.
A different company.
Same
you know?
people, different buildings.
Exactly. Yep. For that character has importance within the expansion, which has been cool.
Yeah.
And my uncle actually told me he went back when he found out I worked on her and he did every single quest line for her so he could get to see all of her range. But yeah, getting to partner with character on that asset. I learned a lot with that character. There were some complexities with it. And it was a really fun asset to work on. I got to work on a boss as well. So I got to do skinning for one of the bosses in one of the dungeons.
Yeah.
The Voidstone Monstrosity. So he's really cool, really large and beefy. It's been very fun on YouTube getting to watch people play that dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
So getting to see playthroughs of people going in there and battling.
That must be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And just seeing the joy that brings. And then I think for me with WoW, like what is my favorite things? I'm a collector. So you will I collect tiki mugs in real life.
Yes.
But in games,
we do.
I love mounts. I love mounts. I want every single mount that exists. It's not possible to get them all. But just being able to collect them and jump onto different ones is fun.
Yes.
So there was a Nerubian beetle mount that I got to work on that was so fun to get to skin. And I'm like, I need that for my collection because I worked on it. Blizzard doesn't just give us those for free.
Right.
You know, we have to earn them.
Yes.
Like everyone else when they come out. You have to
earn it.
Exactly. Yep. You have to follow those, lines or whatever route it is to get that mount. But it's very rewarding to get to do that with, family, friends.
Yes.
And to play together to gain those things.
As somebody who came up and has gone through a bumpy road and has had your own path to get to where you are in your career, what advice would you give to someone who wants to do what you do now?
apply even before you think you're ready.
Yes.
I'm somebody that's a big planner, right? So when I applied to the apprenticeship program, it said up to 3 years post-college.
Right.
I applied during my first year post-college, thinking my goal is for them to see this and go, oh, honey, that's so cute.
Right.
That's so cute that you think that this is going to be good enough to get into the apprentice program.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
Yeah.
Right? And so my goal
and
was...
maybe they'd give you some feedback.
Yeah.
You could change it, send it back to
Exactly.
them. Yeah.
My goal was they see this, they go, this is cute. And then next year they see it, they go, oh, wait, she's improving. She's
Right.
gotten a little better. Great. And then by year 3, maybe
That's
I will
when
get
they'll
the
take
call.
me. Yeah.
And I got the call in year 1.
Amazing.
And I didn't expect that.
Yep.
That was scary and crazy, and I feel lucky. But again, you have to recognize there are people that are like recruiters and, you know, these supervisors and people that are reviewing your work.
Yeah.
And they know what they're looking for, and especially with apprenticeships and internships. Studios are looking for potential. They're not looking for you to be perfect. They're not looking for you to be somebody that has it all figured out yet, because they know that you're learning. They
Right.
know that you're in school. But you don't realize that when you're, you know, learning and growing. And I could easily have not applied that first year and missed out on that opportunity,
Right.
waiting to be good enough by year 3.
You get opportunities when you can handle them.
Yeah.
And that was the right time for you.
Yeah. So don't say no to yourself.
Yeah.
Let them say no to you.
Yes.
And take that no as a not yet. Do not take it as a no.
Never take no for an answer.
Honestly, like, because all it takes is that one yes. That one yes that you put, and then you push your foot in the door, and if they try to shut the door on your foot, you just leave your foot in there, right? You just leave it in there.
Yeah.
And you just keep powering
Yep.
through. Like, don't ever
You're right.
stop believing and dreaming,
Yep.
you know, and then do your best. Like, I have a photo of myself from my childhood. I still have my Mickey that is like totally destroyed and decrepit
Yeah.
from when I was a kid, and I'd take it. We would go to the restaurant, right, before my sister was born. And I'm a 4-year-old, and I have this Mickey Mouse stuffed animal. And my mom and dad would have to get a table for 4 because Mickey
Sure.
had to
He
have
needs
a
a
seat at
seat.
the table.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, but it was done. We did it. We'd go to restaurants, and my parents get a table for 4, and Mickey's sitting next to me, and mom or dad are across the table. Like, Mickey ain't sitting across from me. Mickey's right there with me. But I look at those photos of my childhood. I look at those photos of Disneyland, and I think about, like, I've gotten to, like, do the thing that I wanted to do, and I'm so lucky I've gotten to do that.
Yeah.
And so always look back to, like, 4-year-old me would be so proud.
Yes.
Like, no matter where you go or no matter what you do, the younger version of yourself would be so proud and would think you're so freaking cool.
Yep.
And always reflect on that and always enjoy that. And you know, just dream big, do research, because research is so important.
It is.
Try to, like, scope out what your path looks like, what it could look like, what pieces you could get that could make yourself a starter demo reel. Always iterate. The demo reel I had when I started is a lot different than the demo reel I have now.
Yes.
And the demo reel I had at the start of college is a lot different than the demo reel I graduated with that got my first internship.
Yeah.
I think a big thing too is success isn't defined by where you work. Like,
True.
I'm so lucky that I've been able to work at, you know, Disney and Ubisoft and Blizzard and Pocket Gems and all these places.
Yeah.
I think that that's a lesson that I've learned over the years, is that the name doesn't necessarily matter. It's that you're working on something that you love, and you're working with people that you're excited to get up in the morning and work with.
Yes.
And you're creating something that you're proud of at the end of the day.
With that, thank you so much for doing this, Brittany.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm
Yeah.
happy we've been able to just talk shop and chat.
Yes. Thank you for taking the time to sit and share your experience and share your story. And I'm so happy to have you in my life as a friend of mine, and just somebody who I'm so proud of them as a person, and proud of you in your career. I just appreciate you so much, and thank you so much for coming and talking about your life.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you having me. And the
Yeah.
feeling's mutual. You know, it's nice to have friends. And I feel, again, very fortunate that we work in this small community. Like, I met you through people in my department, including your wife,
Yes. Yeah,
who I
exactly.
worked with
Yeah.
on Frozen 2, who we've collaborated together, who she's somebody I've asked questions to, and I really, am inspired by her. So I feel so lucky that we have friendships and we have this community. And
Yes.
it's really awesome that you're making a platform for us to share these things so other people can, hear these things and maybe take something from it, or just
Yeah.
enjoy the gift of gab.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario.
We know we do. We
Yeah.
love, we got the gift of gab, the two of us. Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you all for watching this episode. And please join us next week for our next friend. Thank you. Bye.